Welcome everyone to Breakthrough Leadership, to our video blog here. I'm Matt DeYoung.
And I'm Greg Yates. Breakthrough Leadership will help you unlock your purpose, live with passion, and become the leader you were created to be.
That's awesome. And in today's episode, which is episode 13, we're going to talk about, or entitling it, Watch Your Language.
Watch your language.
And it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. And I know this is an impactful skill. But Greg, one of our concerns was explaining this topic. It's not easy, but it's powerful. And so you have kind of a story. It could be a fable for people that there's a moral to the story. But what is this story about missional language?
Well, you know, we're going to talk, by the way, several times about language and the importance of language. And I know you maybe started watching this thinking, oh, he's going to talk about whether we should swear or not, right? Yeah. He's going to talk about that. You know, well, I've been kind of blessed, Matt, in my life that, you know, as you gain a little momentum, a little influence, a little power, people would like apologize to me if they swore when they were talking to me because they knew I didn't, you know, and they realized that was my mission. So they would apologize. But of course, once in a while, there'd be somebody who was clueless on that concept. And I was just thinking when we were talking about language, about the first time I ever really remember getting cussed out, as they say, you know, I was a kid, and this was really a fascinating story that speaks to language, but, you know, you can probably relate to it. You know, I was involved in this little pickup football game as a kid. You know, it's kind of the old empty lot game. Yeah, the sandlot game where everybody just shows up on their bikes and we go out there and we start playing. And we're going at it really hard. And the older kid playing quarterback cussed me out. I mean, talk about being clear. He was very clear.
But you didn't deserve this at all?
Well, I didn't think I deserved it because, you know, Matt, all the guy told me when we got in the huddle was, okay, go long. That's all he said, go long. So I went long. I ran around down there.
Yeah, I picture you just running off the sandlot, and he's like, what?
And somehow or another, I didn't meet his expectations, you know, and he cussed me out. Yeah, oh yeah, it was so clear, right? But I mean, you listen to these professional quarterbacks calling plays, you know, and you listen to all the numbers and all the thoughts and they change it up like all the time so nobody can pick up on it. I mean, everybody's familiar with the infamous Omaha. What's it mean today? We're not sure, you know.
But it seems to win games. You're referring to
Peyton Manning, of course, you know. But I mean, when you think about it, really, the language we use in business and with our team, see, it's really important because in a very short period of time, a quarterback has to be able to convey a lot of information, right? They convey, they don't stop in the huddle and say, okay, now on this play, you're going to do this and you're going to, you know, they don't do it. They call out a specific nomenclature and everybody knows what their mission is.
In fact, NFL teams, some of the best ones are good at no huddle or just very, very brief check-in. But like you said, it's all been unfolded. And so what I hear you saying, Greg, I want everyone to hear this. This is one of the most important parts of this video series that we have planned, which is that all of your language communicates something, and a leadership skill that every leader has to have is to know how to watch your language. Yes, Mom said watch your language when it comes to cursing.
She did.
Okay, that's true. But it turns out there was a ton of wisdom in the idea of watching your language. And is it because, Greg, that every type of language communicates some type of mission?
You're calling plays whether you realize you're calling plays or not. It's the truth. You know, Matt, one of the things that was so fabulous about working with my brother for a lot of years as a partner in business is we could literally get in a meeting with adversaries and with the slightest nuance of a statement or a phrase, we knew what each other were thinking.
You have your own language.
We did, and it was just through, you know, consistent communication of these same themes over and over. I would know when he needed me to take a certain role. There were times I would lay a decision off on him, he would lay it off on me. You know, it helped us navigate some very difficult times because we were on the same page.
Right, that's awesome. So people are probably wondering, what is this all about when it comes to watching language and using language to make your mission more powerful, more clear, and more executable? So I think you have 3 tips today. And they're going to, I always have to say, our goal is to make sure it's simple, repeatable, universal.
That's right.
It's based in biblical truth. So you're going to hear these, full disclosure, they're going to sound simple. And the first one is to listen.
The first one is just to listen.
Yeah.
It's the most overlooked. We get so one way in our leadership at times.
What else you got, Greg?
Yeah, we get so one way in our leadership at times. But, the important thing is to listen and hear the language that your team is using and to ask them to explain what you're hearing.
Yeah.
Because if you're not on the same page, well, you as the leader have the obligation to understand where the disconnect is. So first you got to listen.
It's a good, I just want to tie back to your football story. There was a different meaning that you had and what the quarterback had.
Yeah.
So finding out meaning, listening for meaning, super powerful.
Yeah, powerful.
And then the second one is to speak a new language. So listen first, then speak a new language. What do you mean by a new language?
Well, it's important, and back to the football example, when you call that play, when you use a few words to join everyone into the same perspective, on the same page, as we call it, love to call it, it's such a beautiful, iconic phrase. When you've got to learn to speak a new language and teach that language in a way that your team knows and identifies what you mean when you speak. So many times, well, let's just say it this way, go long is not good enough. Get that deal done, or giving generalized instruction with words that mean something to you does not necessarily mean you're speaking a language that your team is going to understand.
Yeah, maybe a quick example is Southwest. They have 10-minute turns. That's their goal at the gate. And so if you say we're going slow on our turns today, everybody knows we got to pile in, and everybody knows what
it defines a specific procedure.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
It's awesome. So then we got to listen, we got to speak, and then we have to repeat. What do you mean? Why is that so important?
It's kind of like the wash, rinse, and repeat.
Yeah,
kind of idea.
It really is.
Well, the point is, repetition, as they say, is the mother of all learning. I mean, we forget sometimes that we're in constant training. As a leader, your objective, one of your most important objectives, is to train leaders and to make certain that everyone's on the same page. So you have to remember that there are going to be times when you're not on the same page, when the language does not make sense or didn't properly communicate. Only through repetitive training is that going to change. So while I say listen and speak a very deliberate new language to your team, you've got to be willing to repeat that and repeat it and repeat it. We're going to talk a lot more about that in the next videos.
And about mastery, one of our special languages is to say you have to install it. You can't just proclaim it, you have to install it.
Can't dictate it.
That's so good. We're going to do more on this subject, we promise, in future videos. But for today, Greg, for those who want to harness the power of watching your language in order to achieve your mission, so that everyone's on the same page, what's a challenge or a tip that you could give everybody?
My challenge would be take the time to intentionally call the right plays and make sure that everybody on your team knows the play you're calling and knows how it fits with your mission. Take the time.
That's awesome. So now it's your turn. We've had sort of a kickoff conversation about this. Now it's your turn to join in the conversation. And right here on this YouTube page, one of the things that we would love to hear from you is how do you plan to watch your language and watch other people's language? What scenarios do you plan on using this in? Is it in your meetings? Is it in the way the team talks to each other? Or is it the way that your team and you talk to your clients and customers? I think that'd be a great start.
That's great. And Matt, one of the other places we have great conversations about these topics is over at our website, morethanbreakthrough.com. I hope you'll head over there and join in.
And if you're not already on our email list, go ahead and subscribe, because we're going to be able to send you leadership resources you can't get anywhere else.
I want you to remember something before we go. You can do this. These are simple steps you can take right now to gain traction on your breakthrough leadership.
Just one more thing, Greg. Go long.
Go long.